Now, Malcolm X. According to the record, Malcolm X was considered one of, if not the greatest influential African American speakers of all time. He was an inspirational and a motivational speaker, a human and civil rights activist that was loved by some and of course feared and hated by many people. I also learned that one of his most favorite books, if not his most favorite book, was the English dictionary. Let me quote something else that I learned about Malcolm X from a website called infed.org and from the page titled Malcolm X on Education. He, and I quote, he got himself a dictionary and began painstakingly copying every entry. It took him a day to do the first page. He would copy it all out and then read back aloud what he had written. He began to remember the words and what they meant. He was fascinated with the knowledge that he was gaining. He finished the A's and went on to the B's. Over a period of time, he finished copying out the whole dictionary. Malcolm X regarded the dictionary as a miniature encyclopedia. He learned about people and animals, about places and history, philosophy and science. Unquote. So here you have it, my friends. If my interpretation of this quote that I have just read for you is correct, then unlike what many people would have us, or unlike what many people would want us to believe today, especially many of those in the entertainment business, and many of the black activists, the black politicians, the black revolutionaries, the black radio announcers, etc., unlike what they would like us to believe today, Malcolm X used the dictionaries, the English dictionaries, to do what? To learn the meaning of the words he was using in the English language to express his thoughts and his beliefs. Malcolm X used the English dictionary to learn, know, and interpret the meaning of what he was reading. How many of us are doing that today? Or how many of you are doing that today? And he did not in ignorance arbitrarily try to make up words on the fly, words with obscure and unintelligible meanings as he went along. He did not try to give the English words his own spontaneous, ignoramus, and colloquial meanings and interpretations like many of the people who are today, and even as I'm speaking, claiming him, Malcolm X, to be their greatest hero and role model, and are claiming to be his disciples, followers, and advocates of the principles that he, Malcolm X, stood for. While at the same time, some of these same people are calling dictionaries and lexicons stupid books. Some are harshly criticizing me for using the dictionaries to give the meaning of the English words. Some are calling me a fool for admitting to my ignorance of the slave master's elite language and for using the dictionary to define the meaning of the word black. Some of these same people who are claiming to be leaders, teachers, and lecturers and revolutionaries that have our people or African people's interests at heart, like Malcolm X did, are accusing me of bullshit reasoning, bullshit ideologies, nigger bullshit, and Morris bullshit, whatever those things mean. And why are they accusing me? Because I am just simply asking them. The systems trained and and the systems trained and blacklisted black religious and black political leaders, black professors, black scholars, black doctors, black intellectuals, black lecturers, black writers, black revolutionaries, black journalists, black professionals, black radio and television announcers, black activists, etc. I'm just asking them to re-evaluate the meaning of the word black and to honestly see if that is truly who and what they are. If that is the word that truly describes their nature and characteristics. Some of these same systems, black elites, are calling me a fool. And why? Because I'm just asking them, for the people's sake, to re-examine the word black and without prejudice or intellectual dishonesty, determine if it is truly the best adjective in the entire English language, or any other language for that matter, that best describe them and the people that they are claiming to represent. And should they discover that it is not, then simply find the most appropriate word. I think we are at least that intelligent to find the most appropriate word, the most appropriate adjective, or the most appropriate adjectival phrase in the slave master's language, the English language, that will represent their natural, native, earthly humanity. But even though Malcolm X diligently studied the dictionary, and no doubt from an intellectual and a basic linguistic semantics perspective, he knew the meaning of the word black and that it was the opposite of the word white. He too was still deceived by Satan and his emissaries, the system, into calling himself and his people blacks and Negroes. He, like many others then and now, were in ignorance of the occult, hypnotic powers of the system's curse word black, and ignorant of the fact that every time and on every occasion that he called himself black, he was compounding upon himself and others a bad omen, the black curse, the black spell. He was still deceived into calling his faith and his religion black, as in black Muslim. He too, like many others then and now, did not understand the metaphysics of the word black, and that by using it to describe himself, it had very little or anything at all to do with the complexion of his skin, but that it was the slave masters, their heirs and successors, the system legitimized curse word. He too, like many others then and now, did not understand or have a clue of the dark occult science of the word black when cast or bestowed upon a people. Every time he called his people black, he was in ignorance, literally and spiritually putting them and pulling them down. He too, like many others, Malcolm X, like many others then and now, did not understand the power and the metaphysical science of the word white. And that every time that he called himself white, or called others, or rather, every time he called others white, let me correct that. Every time he called others white, and to be more precise, he did not understand that every time that he called Europeans and Caucasians white people, that he was in ignorance pronouncing a blessing, pronouncing the gospel, a good spell upon them, and that he was in essence saying that they were his superior and that of his and that of his people, superior of himself and that of his people. He doesn't understand that they are of the light, people who he is calling white, are of the light, and that he and his people is of the dark, or of darkness, blackness. That they, the Europeans and the Caucasian people, are the light of the world. That is what you are saying when you call people white. Doesn't matter, ignorance is no excuse. It's the words being sent out. If you are in any doubt as to the power of the word white and the superior vibrations and the conscious and unconscious feelings of superiority that it brings and bestows upon those that you have been deceived and are erroneously calling white, and those that are calling themselves white, while sometimes they are knowingly, intentionally, maliciously, and contemptuously calling you black, even after you kindly and politely ask them to stop calling you black. Then just turn the table and start calling them black. And notice their immediate reaction and rejection of the word black. Just tell them that they are the black ones. Because if they know that you're not black, and they know they're not white, and they are calling you black, then of course that's an evil deed, and the word black means evil. So just tell them that they are the black ones, the ones that are truly black. And if you wish, just give them some reasons, like I've just mentioned, why you think they are black, and you will see from your own experience their true color. From my perspective, the evidence and the record will show, and the evidence and the record does show, that though Malcolm X's intentions were very noble and great, and he has accomplished a lot, he and his people failed to truly accomplish his dreams, or their dreams in totality, their desires and their objectives. And from my perspective, it was and it is because he was all about blackness. He was about black liberation and black power movement, etc. Black nationalism, etc. For as I have repeatedly said elsewhere, that if black power or dark power could overpower or subdue the light or the white power in this dimension, remember white means light and light is equal to white. We'll get into that another time. So if that could have happened in this dimension, then according to the ancient writers of what is today known as the Holy Bible in the Christian faith, in the beginning, God or something said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And the light was good. According to the book, God said the light was good. Then from this we may logically agree that from the beginning, darkness power or black power was inferior to light power, also called white power in this reality. And please bear in mind, in fact I'll talk more about that in a bit. Don't get this black power, black superiority thing mixed up and white superiority. But okay, let me get to that in a minute. In other words, in this dimension, black supremacy, black superiority, or black supremacy, black supremacy is inferior to white supremacy. Means superiority, the superpower. But I will be doing a whole video on this thing. So please stay tuned. So in other words, in this dimension, black supremacy is inferior to white supremacy, because light supremacy represented by white supremacy, which is white supremacy, white light. We'll talk about that, please. That's a whole thing, need good explanation for those who really want to understand, not for those who are just looking for an error to, who are not seeking for truth, but just want to find something to amplify and make stupid. I don't care for that. I'm talking about logics and facts. You don't have to waver when you speak. facts or the truth as it is revealed to you. So I ask that you please stay tuned for my upcoming video titled Ignorance of White and Black Supremacy Exposed for more information on this topic. Now, so let me continue. For if the opposite were true, then light could not manifest, or light could not have comfort in the darkness or blackness. For the darkness power would have prevented the light from glowing or from radiating or shining. For example, in the dimension of, or in the realm of that which is known as a black hole, according to science, astrophysics, and metaphysics as well, light as we think we know it cannot and will not comfort and manifest itself there. Light will not manifest in a black hole. In that dimension, in that realm, or in that state of being or state of existence, we may logically deduce that blackness power rules. In the dimension of the black hole, blackness and darkness power is supreme. That is in a black hole. So if you know or can prove that you currently exist in a black hole, then maybe you have a valid argument advocating for black power. For your black power is supreme and you have all rights to align yourself with blackness and darkness in a black hole. But for the record, to the best of my knowledge, we, the physical, natural, native, earthly human, are not currently living or existing in a black hole or in the dimensions of black holes. For we know through our physical or our basic physical senses that when the light is come, the darkness or the blackness, which also represent ignorance, has to go, and not that it may go. Dark disappear when light appear. So it is imperative that as natural native earthly humans, and particularly us, the people of African descent, it is imperative that we align ourselves in this dimension to the right power source in order to get the results that we desire and the results that we deserve. Align ourselves to the light in this dimension. I cannot speak, or won't speak of other dimensions now. We are talking about survival here in this dimension. Please join me in part 7 and I'll wrap up. It's better.